it is your favorite CEO, Miss Flo, and I am here at Blerd Station live at Blerdcon, the favorite time of the year. And you know who I have on right now? I have a budding film director. I have Shalaan.
What's up, y'all? What's up? Hey, Flo, what's going on?
I'm having a blast. You know what I mean? I have my students here with me. I have my friends, seeing all these familiar faces. And it's just, how has been your time here at Blerdcon been so far?
An amazing time. I come to Blerdcon every year. This is my 4th time coming.
Ooh.
So it's always good energy, good people. The costumes are dope. It's really nice to see the effort and the artistry and creativity that people put into these costumes. This is a good time and good energy all around. It's just always a good time here every year.
I would say that, everybody's always positive here, which is like, it's so refreshing. Yeah. It's like, I love it. And then, of course, I love your cosplay right now.
Harley Quinn.
Like, there we go. Living life, living dangerous. You ready? Gotta stay safe out here, you know?
Well, no, they need to stay safe for me.
Oh, you know what? Fair point. I get that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was just like, we were meant to be here right now because it's absolutely. Like, we first met at the Metro Bar for the DC Film Office call sheet.
Yep.
And I actually saw your work a little bit on social media as you were promoting a screening that you're going to have here at Blerdcon. Yeah. So I was just like, we needed to sit down. We needed to talk. And I wanted to hear and know more about you as like a filmmaker, creator. Like, I think I was watching Abnormals on YouTube, and it just brought me back to like the CW days of like very like that sci-fi energy. So for those that don't know, like, what is Abnormal? You can explain like what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. So the Abnormals is the supernatural drama comedy series set in PG County, Maryland, a fictional town of Briarfell, Maryland. And it tells the story of this group of supernatural characters in this small town. And all of them have their own budding powers. One of the main characters is a witch, and her best friends are a pixie and a werewolf. And they're surrounded by all these other characters with rich history and mythology as they're figuring out their own powers while this looming dark threat is surrounding their town and the threats that they have to face. And I was very much inspired by TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Vampire Diaries, huge fan of the X-Men, all those things. I grew up on things like that. And, one of the big issues was representation, right? You don't get to see, at least back then, you never got to see as much of us in the supernatural sci-fi fantasy genre. And we're so thankful for the representation we have now because we're really on the up and up now. But the Abnormals was really birthed out of wanting to see more of that, wanting more Black, brown, and queer characters to be very diverse in their power set, diverse in the issues that they take on, not just strife or trauma or their being Black is their only like plot point. Just seeing that they can be magical and creative and versatile in their own stories.
No, and I definitely got that. It was just like they were relating to a lot of the current and social issues that you may see in PG County. Because like when you were talking about like the dark looming threat, are you talking about gentrification? Or are we seeing some like, or some other magical entity?
Yeah.
But it was like very relatable. It's also like very fun. And I'm glad that you touched on it's like when a lot of people try to include diversity, they only focus on the struggle of being, whatever your race may be.
Right.
And I'm like, it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It was very much like, okay, this is what it's like to be a teenager. It's like to still go to school, in a very familiar area. So it's just like, why did you decide to like have it take place in PG?
So I'm from PG County. I really wanted to see an area where like I could see me and my friends hanging out and we're having these similar conversations. We're having these moments of growth and realizations in ourselves. And also too, I was never, at least growing up, I never saw too many projects that took place in Maryland. And the funny thing about representation is if you don't necessarily see it, you start to think that it can exist until you kind of sit and you're like, wait a minute, as an artist, I can create this representation. I can show what makes sense to me and what my worldview is like and expose people to others while also having questions asked. What does representation look like? So that was mainly why I wanted to set it somewhere I was familiar with and I was comfortable with,
No, and I get that. And I definitely agree. But when it comes to like art imitates life.
Yes.
But it's kind of like a catch-22 because like if we don't see that representation and see like what it's truly like to be a Black teenager, you know, in this particular neighborhood. And it's also very limiting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like growing up, we would like have shows like It's a Different World,
Right.
Living Single, that kind of just showed Black people being normal.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like we don't really kind of get that too much right now. It's very more reality shows and like a negative impact. But you managed to merge something that was like very real with sci-fi, and it's like that was so cool, and I absolutely love it. And so like I think you have mentioned earlier off camera, like you're in season 3.
We're in season 3, production for season 3. Yeah.
So it's just like, and then how are you able to like still do this? Because I admire your dedication, because you are putting this out on YouTube. So it's like, how are you able to basically get your product out there? And this is,
well, one of the things I can say, making it work consistently as I do, is just being a good creative, collaborating with great people who are willing to create, willing to put their talents first and foremost, treating your cast and crew with respect and love, because they are also pouring themselves into your work. Feeding people. People love food. Always feed them. And just, you know, allowing people the space to be creative and collaborate. One of the things that, like, I mean, I shouldn't have to pat myself on the back because I feel like all directors and creatives should do this, but collaborating. When we're on set, we all work together. You know, I might have a scene that plays out in my mind, but say an actor or someone even working on sound will be like, what if we tried it this way? Have you thought about it this way? And sometimes they'll give some great suggestions and it works, you know? And I think that's the beauty of art when you're creating it with people, is making sure everyone feels comfortable to collab and also be artistic too. And also, I mean, you said how I'm able to do it. Sometimes I don't know, because I do feel like I am a one-man production crew. You know, I write my stuff, I direct, I produce, I edit. But you know, that's something I will say I'm working on getting better at, is accepting help and branching out to people who also want to help see me thrive just as much as I want to see them thrive in their artistry too. So yeah.
I get that. I felt like I was kind of struggling with that as well. When you're like an indie creator, you feel like you have to take all these responsibilities on your own. But like I managed to stumble across a group of friends who share in my mission. And it takes like so much pressure. When you do have a strong support system. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are just like these band of friends that were like, we want to make something cool. We want to make sure that we see more of us. And like in the genre of sci-fi, horror, you know, in the mystical elements, which we should be in anyway. Like, honestly, like if you really look at the history of Black people, it's always stemmed in like spirituality before, you know, we were, I want to say introduced, but it was more like forced or into Christianity. And it's kind of like going back to that space into the 21st century.
We're so many different cultures. We're so rich in mythology, cultural backgrounds, like you said, spirituality. There's so much to pull from, and so much symbolism that has gotten taken away from or stripped away from us over centuries, that has also been demonized too. You know, how can we, you know, delve into a little bit more of our origins and our culture, when so much of it on the front facing side seems like it's a negative thing, or it's not, you know, like instances voodoo, you know, that's been something that's been labeled as dark magic or dark whatever, but it goes so much deeper than that. It's about a sense of self-centeredness and spirituality, and talking to your ancestors and connecting to deeply rooted customs that help you thrive and grow, you know?
I get that. And that's the more reason why we need more Black writers that actually in the like behind the scenes that understand that. Because it's like, it seems like, a non-Black writer heard of voodoo and all of that and then put a negative connotation on it. And it's very limiting, and it's also very harmful as well. So it's like it's more important for people like you to really be in spaces, because like I love the series and I was like, this needs to be streaming somewhere. Like it definitely needs, like, because it's well thought out. And it's like I said, it's just like the chemistry between the cast members is like, you could definitely feel that and see that on screen. But it's like, Abnormals is not your only project. You've been quite busy with like some like you're doing a screening here tomorrow night. I believe it's at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And it's dealing with the paranormal. So you could like just tell people what that series is about, and you know, I guess the whole behind the scenes, because like I've seen the trailer and it's like, oh man, like we need to get you on a streaming platform.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So Poltergeist Hall is actually my technically first short film. So it's kind of like a one and done thing, but with the possibility of maybe a continuation. It focuses on how the Abnormals takes place in Maryland. Poltergeist Hall actually takes place in Virginia, at a predominantly white institute, but it follows three main Black characters who learn that they're mediums. And they are essentially at this school where a lot of dark happenings have gone about, and they're essentially there to figure out what has called them to this school, and what paranormal spooky things they get into. I came up with the idea around the time I was really trying to just expand a little bit differently and creatively. I had been doing the Abnormals for so long, and I wrote the pilot because it was originally a pilot in 2022 because I was really stuck creatively, and I also for some reason found myself reminiscing about college, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm stuck. And then I'm reminiscing about college. What about some of those people who do get stuck in that kind of like college mindset of this is where they peaked, where do they go from here? And then essentially they're kind of like ghosts, they're ghosts in a sense. And I don't know, I think I mixed that with a dream that I had shortly after that. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a story about a haunted school, and I'm gonna center around three Black characters who have to figure out what the heck is going on. And then I wrote a pilot for it. Shrunk the pilot down. The original pilot was about 70 pages long. And then I shrunk that down to a 20-page short script, and I'll be premiering part 1 tomorrow night.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you kind of touched on some of your creative process and thinking, because one, like as a writer and a director, like how do you know what pieces work where? You know what I mean? Because like what I tell people when you're editing anything, whether it's a news package or a film, it's like putting together a puzzle, but you don't have like the picture box as a reference, and you're not quite sure how it's going to turn out at the end. But it's like for somehow you like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, how do you know when the film is ready? How do you know that this is like the people should see this? What's your like final decision? What makes you give you that final decision, that final okay?
I think it comes down to what is being put in our faces in the moment, culturally, media-wise. What is it time for us to see more of? And, like I said, since my story kind of derived from a place of feeling creatively stuck, how many other creatives, filmmakers, writers also feel creatively stuck, and they need to find like a catharsis for that in some form of a symbolism through paranormal horror, things like that. I think that's another beautiful thing about the genre, is that it's symbolic, it's metaphors for a lot. So as far as knowing when the story is out, it's just knowing what, I guess, selfishly, what I want to see. What is it that I'm ready to see that I haven't seen or would like to see more of? And, I do focus groups. I have people read some of my scripts to ask, does it sound right? Would you watch this? What are your thoughts on this? Like, creating an audience with an interest to see if this is something that people do want to see, on top of me wanting to do it too, As far as story, I'm a good character guy. You can give me a crappy like main plot, but so long as the characters are good and they're solid and they're root worthy, that's what really keeps me coming back. And I love character work. I love sitting down and mapping out a character's journey from beginning to end, and just knowing, okay, younger Shalaan would love to see this, but I also know another Black or brown kid out there, even any other person of any other like cultural background, ethnicity, would like to see this type of representation. And then I write it and I go for it,
I just love that you are like pulling other people's input into your work, because I feel like a lot of times some creatives just don't take the time to really listen to what the people really want. So it's like really cool for you to like go as far as doing surveys and focus groups to ensure like you're giving people what they ask for. Because I feel like a lot of times our audience gets ignored, despite the fact we be putting in the money when we finally do see us, Black Panther, oh my God, Sinners. The most underrated, for some reason, is still being like, I'm glad they're getting their kudos. They have been winning some awards, but for the longest time, just wasn't getting its due respect.
Yeah.
But I mean, people just have to listen to the audience.
And to your point, the unfortunate thing about Sinners is that impact, that popularity, it's still coming with strife. You know, the stuff that happened at the BAFTA Awards a couple weeks ago, down to, articles downplaying the numbers that it did at the box office. People are really downplaying the fact that we want to see more creative, expansive stories with people of color at the forefront. And just knowing the inclusivity is it. And Ryan Coogler, shout out to him. When he makes a project, he involves everyone. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, whatever. He makes sure that everyone is seen in any way, shape, or facet. And I think, maybe controversial take, I don't know, but I think as black people and as brown people, we've been on the outside and have seen how we get excluded. So when we try to come in and make something inclusive, we make sure every single person is seen in that avenue, because we know what it's like to be the outside man. We want to make sure that everyone is represented properly, and we want to make sure also that we're doing our own due diligence too,
No, I get that. And it's just like, that makes me like even more excited to see young up and comers like you kind of like take on that mantle. Yeah. Because like as much success as we have seen, there's still like, we still got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I was just so happy that you're here. And then remind the folks the time and location to check out the screening.
So our screener is going to be tomorrow, Saturday, March 7th at 7 p.m. in room Washington B in the Hyatt Hotel. We are going to be doing a screening of part one of Poltergeist Hall. And then we'll have some of the cast there, and then also a little bit of the crew. And then we're also going to be showing the season 3 trailer for The Abnormals.
Nice.
Again, more cast will be there. We'll, if we have time, because there's a little bit of a shorter panel, but if we have time, we will be doing a Q&A. Me and the cast will be out and about at the panel and the convention, because we come here every year and have a ball. So yeah, like, come up and see us. I love when people come up. I go up to people and talk to them all the time. Like, that's what Blerdcon's about. Like, camaraderie, networking, whatever you got to do. Like, it's a good space. So come find us. Come hang out with us,
Yeah, I love that, because like I've been saying for the longest, like when you come to Blerdcon, the crab in the barrel mentality no longer exists.
Yeah.
It's just like so many people that want to promote, support, just to help uplift one another instead of like holding each other down.
Yeah.
And that's like, so I'm like, how does it feel for you that has been coming to Blerdcon for years to actually do a screening for your first short film?
It's really dope. We try to make that a part of every Blerdcon experience. We come and try to air something every year. And it's really dope to see the people who come out and support. Last year we had a packed room, like people were even standing up. And a lot of investment in what we're doing. People who have asked me like, hey, yo, how can I get on the show? What do I need to do? You need a writer, things like that. It's beautiful to see, and like to see that a lot of people can come to this and be kind of out of their regular, out of their day-to-day work life, and just, be in costume and support what we have going on. Not just my panel and my speakings, but other panels also, because we all have something to say. That's what makes us creatives. That's what makes us so expansive as people of color who want to be in a setting like this. So it's beautiful. It's nice.
I love it. It's just like you're amplifying everybody's voice, and that is like such like a beautiful thing to hear. So it's like, so what are some future plans for you? Whether it's for like the current series that you're working on, or we may see like another project, a spinoff.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this the other day. It's funny. So, The Abnormals takes place in Maryland. And then Poltergeist Hall, as I mentioned, take place in Virginia. So I'm thinking, the next thing I got to do, I feel like it has to be set in DC.
I would love that.
It has to be set in DC. And, I will say, I think there is a stigma around the city right now, given political things, giving some cultural things, given what we talked about a little bit, gentrification. But I think what's beautiful about DC is that there is still rich culture there of Black people. It's not called Chocolate City for nothing. It's being there, being home to Black Wall Street, it's beautiful and it's rich. So I think ideally I would like my next project to be in DC. I definitely want to focus on more shorts, telling more short, close-knit stories that also are good for representation and people feeling seen and heard and validated. And continuing production of season 3 from The Abnormals. And that's the thing with the Abnormals. It's an ensemble cast. Hold on.
Okay. You got, oh, there it is. You
Boom.
see them?
You see all of these people. Scheduling all of these people is crazy. And we're talking multiple storylines and everything. So we are in production for season 3, and it's moving, but it is good. Things take time. And I'm recognizing that as my creative endeavor is recognizing what makes sense for me and taking my time, because good work takes time.
No, I get that. And it's like, I imagine, because you said that you started the script for the short film like in 2022. So were you working on the Abnormals during the pandemic?
So we started production for the Abnormals in 2018 and then filmed all of season 1 and season 2 through to 2022. And then also simultaneously filmed scenes of season 3 ahead of time. We film so many things ahead of time because it all comes down to scheduling and who's available when. And if this scene or episode is locked in, I want to film that so it's done and in the can so we can move on to more. So you might be seeing season 2 episodes that were maybe shot in 2021.
Wow. So wait. Yeah. So how were you able to navigate, creating your series during the pandemic? Because like we were basically on lockdown. I mean, there was like some leeway of like social distancing stuff, but I'm curious, like, how were you able to still pull that off?
Well, in the beginning, when stipulations were a lot stricter and we didn't know what was happening, 2020, I really took that time to focus on putting a lot of it together because we already had so much content already filmed. So it was a matter of editing, promoting, marketing all my stuff. And then once things became a little bit lighter and the world started opening up, I also took COVID precautions, had my cast and crew test beforehand, especially if we were filming in closer knit places or outside. And just keeping up those guidelines and making sure everyone felt safe and healthy when we came on the set. Check-ins, like, how are you feeling? Are you okay to come in this day? What they say to you at the doctor's office? Do you feel like you have any cold or flu symptoms in the last few days? Have you traveled? Things like that. But we have always consistently kept a really healthy and conducive work environment where everyone has felt comfortable. And that was something I really wanted to keep up, especially during COVID when it felt kind of iffy to really be together,
Yeah, and wow. Like, first of all, I feel like a lot of people during that time were kind of like finding their voice, finding their craft, because you had plenty of time to yourself. So it's like, imagine the time to really like piece everything together, develop your stories, develop your characters.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it was really like a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
During that, but you was like still was dedicated enough to really pull this off, and that respect. Respect, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm like,
it took work and it's still taking work, but I think that's the beauty of it. You get to see your hard work pay off and continue to grow. I think that's what I learned with every day we're shooting, whether it's a short day, whether it's an ensemble. I learn something new every day on set that I'm going to utilize for the next time we film something, and being open to grow and be receptive to others.
Right. And it's like that. I mean, that just warmed my heart to hear, especially like you take the time to really develop your stories and not rush. I feel like a lot of times when like a show gets put out there, you have the audience like watching you more and more and more. It's like, no, like you have to take time to really think out about like these characters, where they're gonna go. Does it make sense? Does the next move fit this character?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. I feel like a lot of times some series just like throw something in for shock value, but don't necessarily always take in the character's personality to make it make sense. So the fact that you really take the time for like character building is like, it makes me want to even like more of it. And we just need you in the director's chair. We need you in the studios. And then also I love that we're going to do like DC, because I feel like with Maryland, DC, and Virginia, they don't get enough storylines either. It's usually like New York, California, Florida.
And if they are here, it's very political. It's always at the White House, the Capitol.
Or it's like investigation.
Yeah. I wanna see something where people are just living their day-to-day lives in DC. And that's the thing. I don't even know if it's gonna be supernatural or fantasy. I have a few ideas I'm playing with, but I do know the next thing will be in DC. So yeah.
I would love that. And it's like there's so much space in the city, although very small, but it's also very immersive.
Yeah.
So like you could like take your story anywhere. There's plenty of historical old buildings. There are lovely parks in the area where you can just like have the most fun. And of course, you'll have the support of the DC Film Office.
Yep.
So those for upcoming filmmakers, you could go through there and they'll hook you up with a permit. But what advice do you have for a budding filmmaker, for somebody that's trying to, you know, get their story ideas off the paper and on the screen?
Well, first and foremost, make sure it's on the paper. People ask me all the time, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And my answer is always just do it. Whatever that looks like, make sure you have the script. Even if the script is not in good standing, you have something written. I don't think people really underplay what it means to be a creative person or a director or a writer. Once you have done it, that is what you are. I don't care if you've written one page of dialogue or if you've written out an ideal scene, you're a writer. Now, what do you want to do with that? Do you want to turn into a book? Do you want to turn into a comic? Do you want to turn into a script and then shoot it? Just do it. There's so many, especially with all these iPhone updates, you can film a movie on your iPhone. And always make sure you take advantage, not take advantage in a bad way, but a positive way. Make sure you have a group of friends who believe in you and want to see that dream, and make art, make movies, make whatever with your friends. I will quote the Cheetah Girls, the first Cheetah Girls. Raven Simone's character, Galleria, said, "Friends help friends make their dreams come true." And that's so real. You know I wouldn't be anywhere without the support of my friends, my family, people who really believe in the things that I want to put out in the world, and them coming along and adding their voice to that. But yeah, just do it. That's my advice. Just do it. Find a good group of people. Even if you have to shoot something that's only one person, film that one person, and maybe have a crew of 2 other people, if that. You don't need to have a large crew to make film.
Yeah, right.
You can do the most beautiful things with the smallest group of people, and just do it, you know? And I would also say, when people say that they're an up-and-coming writer, even though they are already writing, they're already filming, say you are that. Say you are a filmmaker. Say you are a writer, because that's that positive reinforcement that you're giving your own brain, your body, so you feel more motivated to do those things.
And I love that. It's basically saying there's no excuse. If you have like a phone, it doesn't matter the equipment that you have. If you have a phone and a dream and a vision, then you can make it happen. And it's like, that's what we need to close out on. But thank you so much for coming on to the live. I can't wait to see the short film tomorrow. I'll make sure I get front row. I want to see reserve. I want to make sure I'm right there in front row for sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I would just love it. Please make sure that you come out and support. If you wish to see more of us in the realm that we need to be in, whether it's sci-fi, horror, you know, any niche genre, we should be in it. And the only way that we are going to really see that is that you guys come out and support and make your voices heard. All right? You see how we flow with that conversation? I'm going to catch you guys next time.